we are the Tea Timers. I'm Doug Belknap. This is Brian Lai, Caroline Ochoa, Madison Silverstein, and Matt Thrasher. So what we're going to be talking about is Raytheon's cybersecurity division. Now this is a concept that's a little bit nebulous and sometimes hard to grasp. So what we want to do is give you guys a bit of a metaphor to help you understand both the nature of cybersecurity and also the urgency that goes along with it. So cybersecurity is a lot like fire protection and prevention. So if you'll look around the room, you'll see that we've got a fire suppression system, sprinklers, fire alarm, and I'm willing to bet that outside in the hallway we do have a fire extinguisher. So these systems mainly exist in case there's like an electrical failure or something along that nature, an internal failure within the building. Now imagine what would happen to fire safety and suppression systems if arson was a common crime, as our little smiling arsonist shows us. So this is what cybersecurity is. When the internet was young, there wasn't really a need for too much security because it was still a relatively new concept. But as it progressed, cyber criminals, cyber attacks became something more common, and so the need for cybersecurity and defense increased exponentially. And so who are some of these arsonists? Now, today's day and age, for the most part, it's hacktivists, terrorists, and the reason why this has become more common partially is because of lower barriers of entry. As technology has progressed, people have had greater capabilities and accessibility to hacking systems and being able to have access to government networks. And as we know, most recently with the links of the Colin Powell emails, that cyber attacks and email links are becoming honestly commonplace, and thus the need for greater cybersecurity. And Ryan's got a little bit of that.
So, two cyber attacks you all may be familiar with have to do with the companies Sony Pictures Entertainment as well as JP Morgan Chase. In the Sony Pictures Entertainment hack, a group known as the Guardians of Peace breached their system and leaked confidential data that had to do with the employees as well as their family members. They leaked over 47,000 social security numbers as well as salaries of executive members and other crucial information. It actually led to lawsuits being filed against Sony against their own employees. Also, as you may have heard, the movie The Interview was leaked, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. That led to the United States receiving terrorist attack threats from North Korea because of the software and malware program used for the hacks. And the White House treated it as a national terrorist matter, and they ended up pulling the premiere from New York City as well as other mainstream theaters. Also, with the JP Morgan Chase attack, it was the largest attack on a U.S. financial institution due to the customer data breach. They leaked over 83 million accounts. 76 million of those accounts were everyday household accounts, and the other 7 million of them were small business accounts. Information from names, addresses, emails were leaked to use in phishing scams. And currently, JP Morgan Chase is spending over $275 million a year just on cybersecurity alone. And with that, I'm going to let Madison talk about the expansion on cybersecurity.
Okay, so what we need to keep in mind is that cybersecurity is very important. It's transitioning from more so just government and healthcare as well as into the consumer aspect as well. And as we all use the internet and the Internet of Things becomes more relevant, we need to keep that in mind and we need to protect on a larger scale. Raytheon is trying to stay ahead of the curve on that, and they purchased in 2015 WebSense, which is currently also known as ForcePoint, for $1.9 billion, so that is a huge investment for them. And WebSense is known for helping Facebook with malware and malicious links, so that's a huge contract. Raytheon is also working with the Homeland Security Department to make sure that they are keeping their employees and their information safe. So it's a huge market to work into with globalization and the Internet of Things.
So I'm going to expand on the difficulties that Raytheon has been facing recently. One of the biggest things is the Department of Defense of Federal Acquisition Regulation System. So what this is it's an acronym also, it's called DFAR, and these are guidelines that Raytheon has to now follow in accordance with everything to do with cybersecurity. So in order for them to implement any programs or any systems, they really have to make sure that everything they're doing coincides with these guidelines. The next thing is building the next generation system. So what that is making sure that all the programs and all the software are being up to date. There's so many new platforms that are being developed on a day-to-day basis. So they just really have to make sure they're staying on top of all of those codings as well. And the new cybersecurity software is being implemented, especially for the U.S. Air Force, and also for the GPS systems, specifically called OCX, which is Operational Control Systems. And what this does is it tracks all of the radars and all the satellite systems throughout the U.S. and also on an international basis. So they have to make sure that these two systems are specifically being secured. I'm going to go ahead and pass on to Matt.
All right, thank you. So the Operational Control System, or OCX, has been in development since 2015, where Raytheon has partnered with the U.S. Air Force, as Caroline said. Now, not only does Raytheon get to help actually build the system, but it's in charge of creating the software to help make sure that there are no attacks on the system itself, because it's being used by the Air Force. It's very vulnerable. Now, in theory, this is a great investment for Raytheon, because it's a very high-profile system, a very high-profile company, no, not company, but it's the U.S. Air Force. So, in theory, it would be a fantastic idea because it could really boost the reputation. However, there have been a lot of setbacks and difficulties that have occurred throughout the process. Now, the sources have been very vague, but what we've been hearing is that both Raytheon and the U.S. Air Force have been experiencing major setbacks that have caused the date of release to be potentially as late as 2023, which is 8 years after the initial start. This could provide problematic in the future for Raytheon, because other companies may not want to do business with Raytheon if they think that it'll take 8 years for them to complete their projects. Plus, Raytheon will have to keep putting resources into finishing this project until it's done, which could take away from other projects. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Adad to finish this up.
So just sort of as a general overview of what we've discussed is there is an increased demand in cybersecurity. Going back to the analogy that fire safety or cybersecurity, as cyber attacks are increasing, part of what we have to overcome to meet this demand for cybersecurity is past difficulties that we've had with other projects, as Matt was talking about. Also, what we're doing to expand into this market and to fully take advantage of, get a bigger part of the market share, is by acquiring existing cybersecurity firms and incorporating them into our system, thereby expanding into this growing market, taking advantage of it, and giving Raytheon a competitive advantage in the future. So, with all that, I'd like to open it up for questions. Does anyone have any? No? All right.
Okay, feedback from the floor.
I think it was overall a really good presentation. You guys are very knowledgeable of what you're talking about. The only thing I'd say is Brian, you were like swaying back and forth when you were talking, and it kind of took away from your. Because that's a really important to bring up, like news, like how this relates to stuff in the news, and like that kind of took away from it. Was what you're swaying back and forth.
The fire analogy made it really easy to digest what cybersecurity is for your audience, and I think you played along through like intro and how you concluded with it. And I like how you used the room and you made people look around, keep everybody's eyes engaged. Really cool.
Yeah, that was really well done. I love it when people use the environment that you're in to actually kind of shake people out of their normal, like staring at the screen mode, you know, to do something different just to kind of bring us in. And it worked for all of us, I think. Yeah. Any other comments from back here? Okay, my only recommendation for this entire team, now you guys are doing Raytheon, so Adad, you're doing a great job kind of with that vocal authority, coming out there, really serious product. I mean, SUB and cybersecurity, I mean, really different. So I am encouraging all of the teams to really think about the feel of your company and how to really embody that. Once we get to CaseConf, we're all going to be doing data links, so it'll be the same for all of us. But just really thinking about your company as something that you're, you know, really engaging with as a kind of an energetic part of it. The stance for all of you guys was a little stiff, hands behind the back, a little bit kind of standing uncomfortably. So I'm going to encourage, and Brian with the rocking thing. Definitely stance exercises are going to be important for you. Getting your hips engaged, a little bit more movement of the body. There was a little bit of kind of stiffness with gesturing, but I think can be rocked out a little bit more. As especially as you get more comfortable with your material and you're really stepping into it. I feel like the first group, there was a little bit more movement, stepping forward, stepping back and around, so it keeps things moving. If you're standing in one place for a long time, it starts to feel kind of like, come on, move, a little bit stiff. So that would be my main recommendation to you guys. And of course, work on an pronunciation. That's totally good. Did you get your last name right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Ochoa.
Ochoa, yeah.
Okay, you did say it right. All right, cool. I was wondering. That's pretty much, oh, the font on your, I just wanted to kind of call out, just in the end of your slides with this citation. Yeah, you went into times for those, which typically, if it's small, especially if it's serif font, it's hard to read. So I would go away from serif font for the slides altogether, especially not in the references, because it made it tough to digest visually. And one back for the previous team, there was that graphic with this Mintel, and then the USDA thing was really hard to read. That was another thing that got your points, was that the citations didn't really do the ethos that you wanted, because we don't know who Mintel is or what Mintel is. There needed to be the full citation at the bottom. There was something embedded under the graphic itself. I was trying to see it, the USDA kind of thing, but it wasn't big enough to really do what you needed. So you might want to either go over it with a text box so that you have a full-size USDA graphic, or just to make sure we know where that information is coming from. All right, let's start, guys.